Thank you. She clapped the loudest when I succeeded, but she was secretly waiting for me to fail. When I got my first promotion, she was the first person to hug me. She smiled so brightly that everyone in the office thought she was happier than I was. "You deserve it," she whispered. I believed her. She was my best friend, the person who knew every dream I'd ever had, the person I cried to when life was hard, the person I trusted without question. But then, strange things started happening. Every opportunity I told her about suddenly fell apart. Every person I introduced her to started acting differently toward me. Every time something good happened in my life, she'd celebrate with me. Then somehow, a problem would appear a few days later. I told myself I was overthinking. After all, why would my best friend want to hurt me? Then one afternoon, I walked into the office kitchen earlier than usual. She didn't know I was there. I heard my name. I froze. One of my coworkers laughed and asked, "Do you think she'll ever realize?" My best friend replied, "I hope she never does." My heart stopped. I stayed behind the wall, too afraid to move. Then she said something that changed the way I looked at friendship forever. After my promotion, everyone thought my life was finally coming together. My boss trusted me more. My coworkers respected me. Opportunities I had dreamed about for years were finally starting to appear. And through it all, my best friend was right beside me. Or at least, that's what I thought. At first, I ignored the little things. The way her smile disappeared whenever someone complimented me. The way every achievement somehow turned into a comparison. "Wow, you're really lucky," she would say. At first, I thought she was just joking, until the day I told her about an opportunity that could change my career. She hugged me and said, "I'm so happy for you. You deserve it." But a few days later, the opportunity suddenly disappeared. The person who promised to help me stopped responding. The meeting was canceled. The door that was finally opening closed. I was disappointed, but I never suspected her. Because why would I? She was the person who celebrated my wins, the person who defended me, the person I called my sister. Then something happened that I couldn't explain. I introduced her to someone who was helping me grow professionally. A week later, that same person started acting distant. And for the first time, a strange thought crossed my mind. Why does everything change after she becomes involved? I quickly pushed the thought away, because accusing your best friend without proof is something you never want to do. But deep down, something had started to feel wrong. I tried to convince myself it was all a coincidence. Maybe I was just overthinking. Maybe life was simply unpredictable. But then, it happened again. I was invited to interview for a position I had dreamed about for years. This time, I told only one person, my best friend. She smiled and hugged me. "You've got this," she said. "I already know you're going to get it." Her confidence made me feel even more excited. 2 days later, the company called the position had been given to someone else. I was disappointed, but something bothered me. The hiring manager said something that wouldn't leave my mind. "We were told you were no longer interested." I froze. No, I had never said that. Who could have told them that? I replayed every conversation in my head. Only one person knew about the interview. Only one. Still, I refused to accuse her without proof. Instead, I started paying attention. The little comments, the strange timing, The way she always wanted to know every detail before wishing me luck. And for the first time, I stopped telling her everything. She noticed immediately. "You've been quiet lately," she said with a smile. I smiled back. "Just busy." She nodded. But there was something different in her eyes, as if she knew I was pulling away. And somehow, that made her even more interested in what I was hiding. That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept replaying every conversation we'd ever had, every opportunity that disappeared, every person who suddenly became distant, every time I shared good news. Something always went wrong afterward. Maybe it was all coincidence. Or maybe it wasn't. The next morning, I made a decision. I wasn't going to accuse her. I was going to test her. A few days later, we met for lunch. She smiled the moment she saw me. "So, what's new?" she asked. I smiled back. "Actually, I have something exciting to tell you." Her eyes lit up immediately. I leaned closer and lowered my voice. "I've been contacted by a company in another city. They want me for a senior management role." Her face lit up with excitement. "That's amazing," she said. She hugged me and congratulated me. She asked where the company was, when the interview was, who had contacted me. This time, I answered every question. But there was one problem. None of it was true. There was no company, no interview, no job offer. It was a story I had made up. For the first time, I was the one keeping a secret. I just wanted to know one thing. Would this fake opportunity somehow disappear too? 3 days later, my phone rang. The caller said something that made my blood run cold. 3 days after our lunch, my phone rang. "Hello? Is this Sarah?" "Yes, speaking." The voice on the other end sounded confused. "We received a message saying you've accepted another job offer and won't be attending our meeting." I frowned. "What meeting?" There was a pause. "The meeting with our regional director." My heart started racing. "There must be a mistake," I said. "I'm not interviewing with your company." The caller apologized and ended the call. I lowered my phone slowly. The story I'd told my best friend had been completely fake. There was no interview, no job offer, no company. So, how could someone contact me about a meeting that never existed? I sat there in silence. There was only one explanation. Someone had taken my fake story and turned it into a real rumor. I opened my messages. The last person I had told was my best friend. No one else knew. For the first time, I stopped trying to defend her in my mind. I wasn't angry anymore. I wanted proof. Real proof. Because I knew that, when I confronted her, she would deny everything. So instead of confronting her, I came up with another plan. After discovering the truth, I didn't confront my best friend immediately. I knew if I accused her, she would deny everything. She would cry. She would pretend to be the victim. So I made a different decision. I was going to let the truth speak for itself. I continued acting like everything was normal. I invited her to an important company event where I was being recognized for my work. She smiled when she received the invitation. "Wow, I'm so proud of you," she said. Those words used to make me happy. But now, they meant something completely different. At the event, my colleagues, managers, and friends gathered to celebrate my achievement. Everyone was congratulating me. Then my boss stepped forward. Before announcing my next career move, he revealed something unexpected. We also discovered that someone had been spreading false information about her work and opportunities. The room became silent. My best friend's smile slowly disappeared because she knew exactly what he was talking about. Then my boss continued. We traced the messages and the conversations. Everyone turned towards the screen. And there it was. The evidence. The messages. The lies. The attempts to make people doubt me. My best friend stood frozen. The same person who always stood beside me was now standing alone. The room was completely silent. Nobody expected it. The person who always said, "I'm so happy for you," was the same person secretly trying to stop me. She looked at me. I can explain, but for the first time, I didn't need an explanation because the truth was already there. I looked around the room at everyone who had supported me. Then I said, the hardest part wasn't losing opportunities. The hardest part was realizing the person I trusted was the reason I lost them. Nobody laughed. Nobody insulted her. They didn't have to. The truth was enough. She walked away that day with the one thing she never expected to lose, her reputation. And I walked away with something even more valuable, peace. Because sometimes the best revenge isn't hurting someone back. It's allowing them to see you succeed after everything they tried to stop.